Oh,
Oh yeah.
wow.
Here.
I
Oh,
just
I
got like
love.
chills everywhere as she was doing that.
I'm a huge Cynthia Erivo fan. Always have been, but like seriously,
Hmm.
mostly since the few months. But yeah, I would have paid so much money to see Cynthia Erivo's Color Purple if it were anywhere to be found. It's not. And that's a whole other talk that we can have about how they don't let us watch musicals
Uh-huh.
and like educate ourselves about musicals. But the cast of Cynthia Erivo is gone. It's like nowhere. So you can't find the whole musical with Cynthia Erivo
Oh
in it.
no, I didn't even know that.
Yeah, they don't. They very, very rarely do pro shots of musicals
Yeah.
from Broadway or West End. So yeah, it's just something that is so like, especially now. Think about it, producers of The Color Purple. You know, now how famous is Cynthia Erivo? How much money you could have made if you just sold that on Amazon, right?
Hmm. But
So
that's interesting. I'm a massive Cynthia Erivo fan as well, and I think it was not West End actually, I don't think. Didn't it play off West End?
I don't know how it played. I thought she was on Broadway, but
She was on Broadway as well.
yeah, but I could be wrong about that.
I think she also started, I'm not 100% sure, so I have to go and have a look at that. So this is I'm Here from The
Yeah,
Color Purple. I'm so excited because I love her vocals. I think they're absolutely amazing.
yeah, she's definitely one of my top three at the moment.
You're
Yeah,
like
so
top.
shall we? Top
I
two.
I keep on saying to like literally, oh, that's my favorite singer. Oh, that's my favorite. I have so many favorite singers. I think
Yeah, you can't really
she's
have a
like
favorite.
good, all of them, all of them. There's so many, and it depends what day it is. Right? Should we push it together?
Okay,
Okay.
let's go. One, two, three.
The television debut performance of I'm Here from the Broadway musical The Color Purple. Ladies and gentlemen, the Tony-nominated Cynthia Erivo.
Oprah's in the audience.
I don't need you to love me.
That expression.
I've got, I've got, I've got my sister. I can feel her now. She may not be here, but she's still mine. I know. She still loves me.
Oh,
Was that not just the most beautiful? I love it when songs like actually act like humans would act, like when something really like intense emotions come over you and you're like so resolute rather than going like, I got my sister, it's sort of like just you feel the pain without like us needing to see more pain.
yeah, totally. And that's one of the things I love about her and in general about musical theater, but she is such a musical theater person, right?
Hmm.
So she goes really with the drama, with the text, with the theater of it, and that dictates her dynamics, that dictates her vocals. Like it all comes from there. She's not singing a song for the sake of singing.
Hmm.
She's she's in a character, and it's so amazing to me actually what you said, like, so the build up, it just makes so much sense, with the lyrics. But then in between the lyrics, like in between the phrases, she's not like she's not stopping. She is going somewhere. Like you see it in her eyes, you see it in her face. She's like, she is living whatever it is that she's singing now. And I'm like, seriously, when you see something like that, I can go back. Like, I can go to people who just sing a nice melody.
I think that's though why we've so drawn in and so enamored with her, not only because she's an amazing actress and an amazing singer, but also just because she has this energy about her, as you say, like even through all of those breaks and things. I love
Yeah.
love me. That like little tiny little melisma there. Just that like little bit of color, but so sensitive with that like thin, breathy sound that she's got going on there.
Yeah, so what do you think that represents? Because it's just, I can't help but start interpreting what
Hmm.
she's doing vocally, what that means. Like, what does that mean?
What do you think it means? I don't
I
know.
feel like, she's talking about a dead sister, right? So I think she's dead, or she's not with her, right?
Hmm.
But she still loves her and she's still her. So I feel like it's so internal, like she goes inwards when she thinks about her.
Hmm.
And it's like a combination of pleasure and pain. Yeah. So that's what makes the voice airy, I think. But
Hmm.
it's not airy escaping you, but it's so I think that's where it's coming from. But I'm not sure which came first.
Yeah.
Like if she wanted that riff to be like that, and then I interpreted it like this. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Or the other way around.
I like the way that I feel like it's one of those moments, like when you go, love me, when you're having one of those moments to yourself where you're just sort of like,
Yeah,
it's
intimate.
like you're saying, like there's that intimate kind of feeling rather than like explain, kind of like having to explain in that way. I love the way that just that tiny bit of breath is just bringing us into her song and like bringing us into the character and really like capturing us.
It's so
Because
pensive too, right? Like you can tell she has her sister in front of her, like she
yeah,
has her with her. It's very tangible, the
hmm,
sister right now with this like intimate, airy riff.
yeah, absolutely. I
And
love it.
also that riff is not predictable.
No,
Like she could
no,
have done that more like in a more classical, traditional way,
yeah,
but she did a twist on it, which is really cool.
yeah, no, absolutely.
Feel her now. She may not be here, but she's still mine. I know. She still loves me. Got my house, it still keep the cold out. Got my chair when my body can't hold out. Got my hands doing good like they supposed to. Showing my heart to the folks that I'm close to.
That is such a quick, like, right? You've got like the small it sound and then like, and she can get even louder now. Oh,
Yeah,
that just,
definitely.
it's like this cry and like this like moan as she's singing. You can just like sense it. You can see like in her arms and everything, the tension that's coming into the sound and into her body as she's going into that. I
Oh,
just
I
got like
love
chills everywhere as she was doing that.
I love how you touched on the tension. So the tension is like from the tone of her muscles
Mm-hmm.
around, right? To support, this area.
Mm-hmm.
So this is like here everything is just free, a freeway.
Mm-hmm.
And it's very clear that she has strength. Yeah. So there's
Mm-hmm.
strength coming from somewhere, but it's definitely not, anything pushing.
Yeah.
But the way she can immediately, even if she builds it up, like she went into the full voice, it's like an arrow. It's like, "Arr!" And Oprah is like,
Mm-hmm.
give me your hand, I can't take this. It's too much. And she's just getting started. Yeah.
Yeah.
But the intensity of,
Mm-hmm.
once she starts closing those vocal cords, I'm like, oh my God, I'm already tearing up. Like it
Oh,
didn't
it's
even start
beautiful.
yet.
It's beautiful. I love the way that you can also see like what would you say then when someone's like lifting their, because I know a lot of people go like, don't lift the neck, but sometimes in my experience that can actually help you to stay into more of that chest voice sound, to keep those thicker vocal folds going on there or whichever
Right.
way that chest voice sound.
Yeah, so I get asked that a lot as well. So to me, there is a difference between the tilt
Mm-hmm.
and the push, right?
Yeah.
So what we sometimes can do before we learn how to use the voice is that we just do this,
Mm-hmm.
and that actually is pushing on the larynx. That's limiting you.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's a lot to do with the back of the neck.
Mm-hmm.
And what she is doing all the time, and she's doing it amazingly, she's tilting, and it's sort of like a losing balance and letting the voice go into the pharynx.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So there's actually not a lot of tension in here in the sense that that is limiting the larynx.
Yeah.
Maybe we can go back and look at that and see if I'm right in this case, because if you look at anything else that I've seen her do, it's just basically like this. Whenever it goes high, right? Or whenever melody goes high, and when it's really powerful, like really belting long notes, she just goes woo,
Mm-hmm.
and it's like I don't need balance. Who needs balance? Like who needs to be in control? Let's just go, yeah.
I think
But
though,
it's a release kind of thing, even
yeah, I think it's also like going up like that is also then you can see like also her shoulders go down a little bit. So I actually know, I don't know
elongating.
it is. She's anchoring, I think, into her back. So I actually know that she works
Mm,
with an Estel instructor, Joan Lauder in New York. That's
okay,
her
yeah,
singing teacher who's so that's why I know that they've also worked on that and some videos that they've done together, like put
right.
online, so that you can see she really brings her shoulders back and down as she's reaching up there in that way in order to like, as you're saying, to like
So
open
she is
up to help.
elongating the throat. She's
Hmm.
giving more space here, and she helps, I think, the pharynx. It basically helps the voice go into there and like focus more on that.
Yeah, we can have, let's go back on that.
Body can hold
You see, here it's still neutralized. Here it starts to tilt.
doing gone like they supposed to. Showing my heart
You
to
can see.
the folks
Yeah.
that I'm close to. Get my eyes, though they don't see it's far now. They see more about how things really are now.
Yeah,
Pause it there.
there's no tension in the throat whatsoever.
No, there's no closing. Well, you can actually hear like a that kind of going on there, but then that's I feel like in an emotional reason and like and she knows exactly what she's doing. So she's just
Oh
like,
yeah.
hey, this is what I want to serve the song and serve the melody, rather than going like, oh, this is unintentionally closing. I mean, there's no way you can sing 8 shows a week and not do it intentionally when you're singing.
Yeah, no, you would be dead at some point.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
definitely
So
have some vocal
yeah, but
issues.
that little that little pain or that little twist, what she did,
Hmm.
that closure. Where do you think she did that? Like how did she do that?
I would have said that it's like in the pharynx that that we've got that
Yeah.
going.
Yeah.
Yeah, just at the
Yeah,
top of
that's a
the
color
throat
thing.
there.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because she could just
exactly.
as well open that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But that's, I mean,
And
that's a lot of it, right? That you can always do it like with color or without color or like with effects and without effects. I mean, especially when you get to her level, you've got like directors going like, "Oh, I don't like the way that you did that," and then you're like, "Oh, okay, I'll do it differently then."
right. But did you see that when she went to that long high note, she also sort of like moved it around. So
Mhm.
it's not a fixated thing. So that's something very important for people who are experimenting with this.
Yeah,
It cannot be, you know,
yeah,
just putting your head somewhere.
yeah.
That cannot be the case because then you just work against the larynx. And yeah, so you need to be a little bit flexible there.
Oh, 100%. And it's definitely, like I think it's so important no matter what you're doing in terms of supporting or whether you're anchoring or whatever you're doing. biggest thing in Estor voice training is we always say that, or I think in any voice training I've ever done, is that you have to be flexible. You have to be able to move. You can't just like stand there like a statue, like, and that's I'm fixed in this position.
Yeah,
The voice
of
has to
course.
move, and any type of like fixing, even when you're dancing, you and moving, this fixture is actually only going to stifle the sound. It's not actually going to be able to like you're not going to have a very resonant sound. So yeah.
That's right. Yeah, yeah.
Absolutely. I love that. I didn't see that little move, so I'm going to watch out for it. And yeah, I can see it in this, like the still that I've got here. That you go, and exactly what you said with lifting up the chin, but it's not that coming forward.
Yeah,
It's
it's not coming forward.
and you can see it with the arms as she's bringing them sort of like, as if she's sort of like almost carrying something. You can see that kind of tension coming in through which I love it when singers wear like less and on top, because you can see that beautiful movement of the muscle. It's great.
About how things really are now. I'm gonna take a deep breath. Gonna hold my head up. Gonna put my shoulders back and look you straight in the eye. I'm gonna flirt with somebody when they won't wait. I'm gonna sing out.
I think one of the it's
My
just so
goodness.
beautiful. One of the things with Cynthia Erivo, a lot of people like I've coached a couple of singers on this song, and a lot of them want to get that like darkening of the tone that she does. Like, because she goes, I'm gonna keep my head up, and she like darkens the sound then at that moment. And I think a lot of people don't realize a lot of that is to do with the larynx height, but it's also just the general physiology of her voice, that that's also where she spent a lot of time singing. And to not try, I don't know about you, when I coach singers, I would say like don't try necessarily like recreate that exact darkening. Find your version of that sort of like meteor sound that she's bringing in there. What would you say to your students about that?
I think I would explore the options there, and then I would leave it to interpretation, because I think you're probably right that she's used to doing that, and it's like a part of her vocal mechanism, and the way, maybe even the way she speaks in this range, and stuff like that, or the way she's used to sing in this range. But it could also just be like, I think it makes sense there to do this. Yeah. So if that's the case, I would have no problem with somebody sort of like doing that darkening. But I wouldn't do the darkening for the sake of sounding like her, because, you know, you're not her, you're you. So if you're trying to sound like somebody else, nobody cares. Like, really, nobody's here to see that. People are here to listen to your voice, right?
Exactly. Well, I
Unless you're
mean,
an impersonator, which like it's something else entirely. But yeah, I would just basically see, can we do it like this? Can we do it like that? And then we make a choice, artistic choice.
yeah, rather than just going like I'm going to be like a bad Cynthia Erivo copycat and
Right.
go and like kind of like twist your voice into a way that almost like a lot of people I know, they try and over darken, and it ends up just like causing them so much like issue because they're not
Yeah.
allowing themselves to get up onto the notes, so they end up like pulling the sound a little bit flat.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's like what you talked about before, the balance between tension and flexibility.
Mhm.
The same balance you have to have between, the different directions and colors in the voice,
Yeah.
right? Because if you only do darkening, then you end up sort of like pushing down.
Mm-hmm.
If you only want the larynx low, then you might lose some of the twang, some of the
Mm-hmm.
brightness, and that could be important as well. So
Well, you can
you
also
should
let's
have
go
both.
absolutely, I think, and flexibility basically. Let's go back to minute 2, because I
Okay.
feel like we can also then really notice the way I love the way that she kind of like parks on specific notes when she's like going into that full belt. That she kind of goes, hey, it's bad straight in the ah. You know, she kind of like sits on particular notes and they end up being quite straight when we get this kind of like quite fat, belty kind of sound.
So you want to watch out for the straight tones before she opens that, or
Yeah,
I'm
she
sorry.
kind of you'll I mean, I'm the when she kind of like sits on specific notes and then she'll kind of like open the mouth a little bit and that's when she tends to like lift the chin a little bit.
Okay, okay, yeah,
I
let's
don't know.
watch for that.
I find those little bits fascinating.
Take a deep breath. Gonna hold my head up. Gonna put my shoulders back and look you straight in the eye. I'm gonna flirt with somebody when they won't run. I'm gonna sing out.
She's insane.
Okay, sorry, it's impossible for me to stop in the middle of the riff.
Oh no, I totally understand. But oh my God, I mean, like not only like talk about pressure, you've got like Obama, Paul McCartney, Oprah, you know, like I mean, that is a big night as well for her because right, The Color Purple was the show that launched her career, really. This was the
Yeah.
show that kind of made her, and she said that in a lot of auditions. I maybe I was thinking about the way that she parked on the notes, but actually I really noticed this time the way that she tended to stay in the same placement of the sound and just like form the vowel, like the consonants and everything over top of the sound. But literally the sound stayed so steady and she didn't allow it to kind of go anywhere in that moment.
Oh, that's so true. Yeah. So there's something that is exemplary, the way she built up to the high note, right? So a lot of people will try to do all of the engagement and the technique when the high note comes. Yeah. She does that like 2 sentences in advance. Like
Yeah.
she's putting all of the modes in place
Yeah.
and she's on a roll. By the time she's in the high notes, she's basically just continuing what she did before. Yeah. So like you said, she's sort of like on the same, you know, you can call it placement, but you can call it mode, whatever that is, but she is on a roll. And basically all she has to do when it comes to the high note is she's doing everything the same, but more. Yeah.
Yeah.
So like to the extremity of it. And that allows for the high note to come. That was very high note, wasn't it? Yeah, that was fucking G.
That's crazy. That's high. But I
That's
love
very high.
I love that as well because you know it doesn't really matter if we call that a mode or a placement or whatever when we call it. I don't usually talk a lot about placement of tone because I feel like that's different for everybody. But I just
And it's
love
also again the fixating thing, right? If you're
Yeah.
in one place, then you're not moving anymore.
Exactly. And that's such a classical way of looking at it of like you've got the whole I always like to think about it like scaffolding, that you've got like all the scaffolding there and then you're just like bungee jumping down to the notes, but that you're already got the scaffolding in place for that high note. And you
Oh,
can notice
awesome.
she does that right from the I'm going take a deep breath. She's like that's when it starts, as you said, it like happened way before she hit that big note.
Yes, definitely. Yeah, she's using a lot of speaking there, a lot of twang, a lot of that, what you call the tension in the body. Like you can feel that throughout in her entire torso. Like it's all engaged.
Love it. Absolutely love it.
I believe I have inside me everything that I need to live a bountiful life and all the love alive me upstairs.
Now the effects are coming.
Yes.
Thankful for every day that I'm given, both with easy and hard ones.
I'm curious what you have to say about the effects because it's easy for people to think that just do that from just by squeezing here or just like scraping here or whatever, but it's not. It's like the way she's doing it is healthy. How do you do that?
I love it. So, I mean, obviously, effects. I don't know how much work you do with effects and singing and things like
Not
that.
much. No, I'm
Okay.
classically trained. So what I can do, like if someone can already do screaming or whatever
Yeah.
or growling, then I listen for basically if that's supported, if it has a
Yeah.
lot of tension here or not, so we can work with that or,
Yeah.
make sure it comes from a good place.
I love effects. So I'm classically trained as well. But I just over time ended up finding more freedom with my singing in my rock and like musical theater, but more rock and kind of turning now into mainly rock, like without so much musical theater. And so I've learned to do a lot of these kind of things over time through working with different teachers and learning like how to specifically do them because in classical singing that was like a big like no go, right?
Yeah.
So the little growls and stuff that she's doing, those are actually the arytenoids rocking together. So it's the
Mm-hmm.
like that cookie
Yeah.
monster.
Yeah. But that's difficult to do that if you're not trained to do that because I just did that and I felt that I have to cough afterwards.
Exactly. So when you need to cough afterwards, that's like a little bit too much pressure. It's actually like a letting go.
Oh,
There you go. So like thinking
okay.
about more like that.
Oh yeah, that's a frustration kind of thing. Like
Yeah,
my kids just ran into the street, stuff like that. Like I told you a million times not to do that.
exactly. But it's also like a letting go kind of feeling. So you've got, but it happens before the note. A lot of people sing it. They go, they want to go on the note and it sounds like you're Elmo, And so you
Yeah,
want to
but
go,
that's also the tongue pushing in there.
exactly. And you got the
Yeah,
tongue tension
okay.
going on there. So, but she's just touching on it, like really, really small before the sound comes in, rather than it trying to be on the pitch, which is why we're not getting that Elmo kind of sound. Because
Yes,
that's
that's
not,
right.
yeah, it's
And
not that.
but she also did some rasp.
She did, definitely.
How did that happen?
Let's just
Because
go
I
back
also
on
want
that
to
because I
learn about
can't.
that.
There was so many effects that came in there.
I'm getting
Usually
a
a little
little
bit of
effect mini voice lesson here.
I love it. So the usually rasp is the false vocal folds coming just like touching over and just kind of interrupting the airflow as we're going through.
Okay, okay.
I love that though.
Here.
Yeah,
Did you hear it?
yeah, the tall. I can't do that on that note.
It's like a da, da, a little bit of that.
Yeah. Tall this. I'm like so in my growl mode now. But of doing that. I've been
I
sick
also
for like
find that
last 2 weeks.
growling is actually easier than rasp.
I think so for some singers it definitely she's doing it like everything. Obviously she's like got a jungle like a
Yeah.
whole jumbled up like it's beautiful and with so much intention as well. So I actually would probably need to listen to that a couple of times. I think that that little rasp can come in when we just ever so slightly make a constricted sound, making the throat a little bit tighter as we're going.
Right.
But that's still very hard at that volume.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
At that
Yeah. So
volume.
she probably has like extra engagement from the rest of the body there to
I
support that.
I would have said it's definitely coming from like well, no, I would have said it's definitely. I don't know anything for definite, right? I'm not inside her body, but I would have said that it's like just ever so slightly like a tightening of the inside of the throat. But
Mm.
just like with any effects that people are doing, we just need to be careful of like, are we coughing like you said before that you needed to? Are we kind of feeling that uncomfortableness with inside the throat? Because that's what we don't want to be feeling. And she's just, she's been doing this for a long time
Right.
and been performing the show for a long time. So that's like going to be in her kind of in the
Muscle
automatic
memory.
part of, yeah, and the muscle
Yeah.
memory of the song. So
Yeah.
cool.
Oh, awesome.
And I love that she's now increased the energy in her presentation, like in her emotion, the way she's like standing there in her facial expression, but we're not really noticing an increase in the volume going on now.
I'm very curious what she's gonna do in the end because, like, on stage, she had the Madonna mic and she was able to squat, fully squat and do this twist with her head. And
Ah,
now she has, yeah, you should check it out if you can later because the way she's finishing the song on stage, that little song is on YouTube, and I was like, what the hell is this? So I'm wondering what she's gonna do now that she has to stand up in front of the mic.
so interesting because obviously we've got like way less ability to kind of like, I mean, going down into a squat is a great way, especially when you're going in those high belts to like help
Yeah.
engage everything, but like to also trick our brains into like going, I'm not going that high.
Yeah, no, she bent her knees. The whole torso was straight. Yeah, so she didn't go all the way to a full squat,
Yeah.
but she was knees bent, torso sort of like almost 90 degrees. No, it was like maybe 100 degrees,
Yeah.
like this, and then twist of the head.
Wow.
He was like squeezing the sound out, but it did not sound squeezed at all.
Wow.
It was incredible.
Beautiful. I mean, that's just like artistry, isn't it? It's just like
It is.
that's just like an instrument that just works and you can kind of like contort your body around. That's hard.
Wanted for life and all the love alive me upstairs is tall as the tallest tree. I'm thankful for every day that I'm given, both with easy and hard ones I'm living. But most of all, I'm thankful for loving who I really am. Beautiful. Yes, I'm beautiful.
Oh,
Oh yeah.
oh,
yeah.
wow. Wow.
So the
that's what you
twisting
meant?
was there.
Ah,
The twisting
okay.
was there.
Okay. Wow. That's so interesting. I love at the end that she, here is such a crap valve for us to like, here. That's hard. I
Yeah.
mean, she can do it, obviously, but I love that she goes, here. And she opened up
Yeah.
into that vowel and that may, that's an easier choice to belt up there. Okay, we were only on the D6. So we got that D5, sorry. I mean, it makes it a lot easier to go.
Oh, so that's the okay.
Down to the B.
Yeah,
that's
definitely. And then yeah, go ahead.
No, sorry, I was just gonna say that's the D. And then she's going down to the B. So she gets off the D
Yeah.
relatively quickly. But I love that wasn't that just stunning?
It was just on point. It was a perfect ending. I think the only thing that would make it more perfect is if she took that half a second longer before she would blast that. So what she did in the staged version, from what I remember, is that she really enlarged that contrast between the I'm beautiful and I'm here. So I'm beautiful is intentionally introverted and soft, and that also like got like a lot of cheers from the audience because everything she had to go through in her story to be able to say I'm beautiful, she was basically told the opposite her whole life, right? So she's, she's pointing forward. She's like, yes, I'm beautiful. I dare to say it, but I don't dare to say it loudly yet. Yeah, it's the first time basically that she's saying that.
Oh.
And it's like this small whispered thing, but decisive. And then she blasts. Ah! Ah! And that's what creates that big effect. And then she took time before she did that blasting.
Yeah.
So I thought that was super powerful. And here she took less time, but I understand because it's a different, it's a different setting. And there's not that context of the whole play before. Yeah, before that. The whole story.
And also, I think sometimes it's different. I don't obviously know if there was like the conductor coming in through the monitors in front of her, but I don't know if she would been able to then take that moment longer, because it seemed like she still stayed quite well in rhythm there. She didn't take a huge pause to then make sure that the orchestra, whereas usually obviously in a musical the conductor would be in front of you and they would be waiting for that moment for you to keep on going, which is obviously hard if the conductor is behind you.
That's right.
Wow.
Yeah.
I just love that, I'm beautiful. And she just took that little really, as you said, like that sensitive moment to make that like slightly breathier kind of sound. And I almost feel like that like little fragile moment makes the louder sound more effective.
Yeah.
Although she's, again, not really getting louder than the loud she's already done, but that juxtaposition of the loud and the quiet makes it appear louder.
That's right. Yeah, that's the contrast that I was referring to.
I
The bigger
love
the
that contrast.
contrast, the bigger the effect, and that was very musical. Like it's such an effective musical choice to enhance the drama, and I'm a sucker for drama.
Oh my God, I like love drama and singing, and I'm like all here for it. And I think I love like at the end, it's basically just like slapping the audience over and on the face with that lovely it's just so beautiful in that moment. Oh, I love Cynthia Erivo. I absolutely love it.
I love her so much. I'm a little bit in love with her.
I think we could talk. I think we could like wax lyrical for hours and hours and hours about how amazing she is as a
at least
singer.
5.5 hours more.
Definitely like watch everything that she's ever done. It's so fantastic. Thank you so much for joining me, Linor, for today. It's just so beautiful.
It was such fun. It was just pure fun. It's like there's nothing like watching good singers doing what they do, and for me, that's a perfect comeback with Cynthia. So thank you so much.
Yeah, I love it. And where can people find you if they want to find you online and inquire about lessons?
Yeah, so I have my website, singwell.eu. So it's singwell in one word and then .eu from Europe.
Cool.
So
and I'll
find
put
me
it down.
there.
Awesome. And I'll put it down in the description.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure.
You.
Awesome.
It was fun.
Thank you. And
Bye.
everyone can check out our podcast episode that we did here where Linor and I sat down and had a chat about all things singing, about our journeys as singers, and especially talking about the emotional aspect when it comes to singing, especially when you take it up maybe later in life or you've been told that you can't sing and think. So we had a really lovely chat up here.
Yes.
Awesome. Thank you, Linor.
Thank you. Bye.
Yay!